We are seeing Russian military operations inside the sovereign territory of Ukraine on a scale that Europe has not seen in decades. I repeat my appeal from last night to President Putin. Stop the military operation. Bring the troops back to Russia.
Nearly 1 year ago, Russia invaded Ukraine, shocking many around the world. However, to those who know the history of this region, it came as no surprise, because Russia has been invading its neighbors for over 30 years. Some analysts blame this tactic on a geographical theory written way back in 1904. English geographer Halford Mackinder developed the Heartland Theory. In this theory, he divided up the world into 3 parts: the world island, offshore islands, and outlying islands. The world island, or heartland as they call it, is an area with the most resources and natural defenses. Mackinder theorized that Eastern Europe controlled the world island, and therefore the world's power came from that region. In 1997, Alexander Dugin wrote a book called The Foundations of Geopolitics, and in this book he references Mackinder's theory. What's the connection, you might ask? Well, Dugin is a Russian political advisor to Vladimir Putin, who plays a key role in Russian foreign policy making. So when you put these two things together, it makes sense the Russian invasions of several neighboring heartland states could be linked to an overarching theory that they're important to Russia's power and control of the world island. Let's take a closer look at Russia's invasion of some of these former Soviet heartland states. Because when you look at them together, it's easier to see how this series of events led to the current war in Ukraine. After the fall of the Soviet Union, the majority of former Eastern Bloc states joined NATO, leaving Belarus, Moldova, and Ukraine vulnerable. First in 1992, Russia supported the Transnistria separatist government, a group in Moldova that led the division of that country. Then in 2008, Moscow sent troops into neighboring Georgia, which started the Russo-Georgian War. Despite a ceasefire 2 weeks later, tensions still remain high in this region. The Kremlin believes these Western-aligned countries all along its borders could politically undermine Russia. Putin frequently blames the conflict in Ukraine on NATO's expansion. He told the Collective Security Treaty Organization last May that the Nordic countries on Russia's border are not yet a threat. He said, "But the expansion of military infrastructure into this territory would certainly provoke our response. What that will be, we will see what threats are created for us." Their invasion into Georgia reveals their tactics and next moves for the Crimea, Donbass, and Ukraine attacks. So that brings us up to date in Ukraine. An ongoing conflict that included the Battle of Donbass, the seizure of Crimea, and the ongoing invasion of the rest of Ukraine. The only key difference with this latest invasion is the scale of destruction, as this war has already led to more casualties and deaths than Moldova and Georgia combined. The current tally released by the UN reports 7,000 dead and 11,000 wounded in this latest conflict. And according to statistics, billions of dollars in military and humanitarian aid have now been sent by countries all around the world. But despite the continued losses and growing expenses, those who believe this century-old theory is behind Russia's motives says it won't be their last attempt to maintain control of what Putin sees as the heartland of Europe.
We know the toll of war. With death rising, we are seeing images of fear, anguish, and terror in every corner of Ukraine. People, everyday innocent people, always pay the highest price.